Well, I don't know about the rest of Sycamore Nation, but my heart is still beating after the overtime thriller against Evansville on Wednesday night inside the Holman Center. We welcome you back in for another episode of the Greg Lansing Show as the coach joins me. And Coach, really with the streak your team has been on, any way you can find a way to get a win is a nice way to get a win. What was it about the way your team pulled out that win against Evansville that had you pleased at the end of the night?
Yeah, speaking of your heartbeat, I think some of our fans were probably wondering if our team had a heart, because we weren't playing with it all the time like we needed to. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously good to get a win. Really hard-fought battle, and it always is between us and Evansville. I was proud of how our guys competed. We didn't play great in the first half and got down a little bit, but we kept plugging away, guarded a little bit better, made it tougher on them in the second half, and our offense was pretty good for the most part. You score in the 80s, you're doing a good job against an Evansville team that tries to slow the pace a little bit. And then to get Brenton sharing the basketball on the offensive end, that's something we've been working hard on and staying on Brenton about, and I thought it was a really good team effort.
Coach, one of the phrases you've really brought up, not just with me, but everybody across this program, has been there's only so much I can do. And from that standpoint, the coaches, we can't go out there and necessarily play. And you brought up heart with your team where maybe sometimes the fans have wondered, where has that heart been? How do you make that balance of knowing when it's really on them to kind of convert on the floor, but knowing when it's time to press buttons from your seat as well?
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't have heart, because the guys do have heart, and I'm around them every day, so I see what we do in practice and what they invest and how much it means to them and do those things. We just have not carried it to the floor. Again, the staff's working their tail off. I think in even in all the losses, they've given them a great game plan, great scouting report. They just didn't follow it out like we need to. The other teams are doing that better than what we've been. So there's a lot of little stuff, Luke, little stuff that leads into big things. But it's good to get that win, and hopefully it's something we can build off of.
You brought up little stuff. I know really with any team in the country, the key to offensive success is sharing the basketball. That was one of your main points after the game against Evansville as well, specifically in Brenton Scott with 6 assists in the game. You said that's a number he should hit all the time. I don't know if it's fair to say what Brenton has to do to really reach that number, but what really is the key to your team as a whole to find that aspect of the game where you get guys with those high assist numbers?
It's contagious. It's contagious, and if Brenton Scott's going to distribute the ball like he did last night, like he did against Butler, in those games, getting shots for his teammate, it just filters down to everybody else, and you see him seeing guys sharing it. It really becomes contagious. Brenton wants to do it. He's watching film. He's trying to learn exactly how to play because everybody's trying to take him away. He's not gotten an easy shot for quite a while, since Christmas probably. So he's learning to play without the ball a little more, learning what to do with how the defense is guarding him. And when he puts the ball on the floor, there's at least one guy coming, and all 10 eyes are on him. So he can make easy plays for himself, the right play, and he got guys easy baskets last night. He could have had 12, 13 assists real easy if we'd have shot better.
Well, we reach our first break in the show. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Matt Van Soik. Don't worry, Coach isn't going away. He'll be back at the end of the show to preview you and I. You're watching the Greg Lansing Show on GoSycamores.com.
Get on the road to Arch Madness, March 2nd through 5th in St. Louis. But when you aren't at the games, be sure to visit the best entertainment venue in St. Louis, as Ballpark Village hosts the MVC Fan Hangout. It really is the perfect gathering place during Arch Madness. The MVC Fan Hangout begins 2 hours before the first game every day of the tournament. The MVC Fan Hangout at Ballpark Village is located blocks from Scott Trade Center and just north of Busch Stadium. See you there.
Welcome everybody back to the Greg Lansing Show. We're now joined by our first player here on the show, and it's none other than senior Matt Van Soik. Matt, I was joking with Coach Lansing when we started the show that my heart is still beating from that game on Wednesday against Evansville. How about yourself and the players? Have you guys been able to dial down a little bit after that exciting one?
Yeah, and Coach said it too. I mean, we were supposed to win that game. We played well, and it was a tough fought game. And towards that very end, you think you had it won there at the very end, and then the refs put half a second left on the clock, and you're kind of like, well, they can still get a lob. And sure enough, they get that lob, and I mean, it's just half an inch away from going the other way and going in and us being all down. But I mean, those are the breaks at basketball, and basketball's a game of runs like that, so there's going to be constant ups and downs, and luckily at the very end of the buzzer, we were the last one on top.
We've chatted a lot throughout this year, through your last year here at Indiana State. I know it hasn't gone the way you and the guys exactly wanted it, but what do you hope that you and the guys take away from Wednesday's game against Evansville that you can find something that you've been searching for all year long, and that's consistency?
Sure. It was definitely competing. We competed every possession. They hit some tough shots. We didn't really give them any easy looks, so taking away and going forward with these next 7 games is just that whole competitive nature and to compete every possession. If we compete every possession, you're gonna usually feel pretty good after each one. So whether that's rotating on defensive possessions or getting a good look, the best look that we can possibly get, every possession means something, because at the end of the game, it doesn't come down to that last shot. It comes down to each possession and what you did on it.
Coach Lansing, one of his phrases that he's been using with me and you guys in the media is you can flip it at any time, being the senior class. What about you and the seniors is going to allow this team to be able to flip it and get on a run? And it's February now. Sure. January is behind you. How can this senior class and you specifically really turn the gauge and get this team focused on a late run?
It starts with leadership, and Coach always says from the top down. So for us as seniors, we're expected to do what Coach wants us to do. We're expected to communicate with each other. We're expected to be the ones who's playing the hardest on the floor. So that way the younger guys, we're going to look at that and go, okay, we need to do that too. And going through our last kind of skid we just had recently, we had a team meeting and we discussed that, like we need to compete. We need to play hard, and it starts with me, and I said I'm one of the biggest culprits of it. I may not be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I need to change that. So I think this past week, our practice has been great because of our energy. And I was joking because we get guys like Donnie Franklin who's talking the most in warm-ups, and you don't expect that too much, but that carryover helps in games because we practice hard. We practice hard every practice this season, but we haven't had that carryover to games. And I think last night we did have that carryover. We did what we were supposed to do, and the leadership is where it's going to start, because again, there's 7 games left. Anything can happen, but if we want to change it, we have to change it within ourselves, because like Coach said, he's not on the floor. The coaches aren't the ones on the floor. They give us an excellent game plan, and it's up to us now to use our IQ and to play hard.
Matt, appreciate the time.
No problem, Luke. Thank you.
Once again, that was Matt Van Soik. We'll be back to recap the show with Greg Lansing in just a moment.
Don't miss your chance to see who will hoist the hardware at the 2017 Missouri Valley Conference Indoor Track and Field Championship, presented by Cedar Falls Utilities, KXCL Radio, and the Waterloo Courier. Get to the UNI Dome in Cedar Falls, Iowa, February 25th and 26th, as the Valley crowns its champions. For tickets and more information, call 319-273-4849 or visit UNIPanthers.com. The Missouri Valley Conference, where champions make history.
Welcome everybody back to the Greg Lansing Show. And Coach, you get a big win on Wednesday against Evansville, but as conference season goes, you kind of got to flush that one out and focus on the next one. And you and I just go down the league. There's no easy teams in this league.
Yeah, there isn't. And that's why you come here. That's why you come to Indiana State. That's why you play in the Missouri Valley Conference. You're going to play at an elite level, a very high level. And then you got to go to UNI, who's one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They started out struggling like we did there. They were 0-5 to start, won 5 in a row, got a little more healthy. Their main 3 guys there with Morgan and Cook and Carlson have been playing at a very, very high level. Lost a tough one last night to league-leading Illinois State. But one thing UNI is not going to do, they're not going to beat themselves. They're so well coached, and Jake is a good friend of mine and admire how they do things and the things that they've accomplished. They don't make it easy for you to get an easy shot, and then they're really difficult to guard.
You mentioned they have a really good trio. What makes that trio such just a tough battle, regardless of any time you play UNI with, like it's going to be on Saturday when you go to Cedar Falls?
Well, all 3 of them are very good basketball players. They're very smart, they're tough, and they're unselfish. I mean, if you put all those things together, you're going to have a good basketball player, and they're very experienced now. Those guys have been in a lot of big games against very good competition, been in a lot of wars in the conference tournament and throughout the conference season. So led by those 3, boy, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat on any night.
And finally, Coach, your message to your team after Wednesday in the locker room was, let's get one on the road. What's it going to take to get one on the road? Yeah,
you're going to have to play, you're not going to have to play the perfect game, but you're going to have to play fairly mistake-free. You're going to get some shots against the way they play their pack line defense. You got to be able to make shots, and you can't just settle for 3s. We've been guilty of that, of this kind of defense. And offensively, we're going to have to do a good job on those 3 guys. Those are kind of their focus. Our scouting report will kind of be geared towards those guys, but then they sprinkle in some 3-point shooters around that arc. So just a tough team to prepare for. It's a lot of fun. getting the guys together, getting on the road, and going into a tough environment to play a very good team.
It'll be on national TV as well, 2 o'clock on CBS Sports Network Saturday afternoon. Coach, it's always a pleasure. Let's get a winning streak going.
That'd be good with me, Luke. Thanks.
Once again, that was the coach, Greg Lansing. You've been watching the Greg Lansing Show here on GoSycamores.com. Don't forget about that game on Saturday before next week begins. For the coach, Greg Lansing, and everybody with Indiana State men's basketball, I am Luke Martin. You've been watching the Greg Lansing Show on GoSycamores.com.